All right, welcome to Coffee Chat. My name is Christian Clausen. We got Mr. Scott Gwatney here with us.
Good to be here.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about financial planning for entrepreneurs. You know, what are some of the things that we should consider?
Yeah.
What would you think the first thing we want to think about, you know, if you sit down with somebody trying to do some financial planning for an entrepreneur?
I think the biggest thing for any entrepreneur is honestly when we sit down with them is looking at what size company we're talking about as an entrepreneur. I mean, if it's just you and your wife, you by yourself, something small, then that's going to really dictate what kind of retirement plan we even start off at. I mean, so it's really the size of your company. I mean, if it's you and 10 employees, then that's going to be a little bit different on maybe what we recommend in 10, 20, 30, you know. But if it's only one or two, it depends on the size of the company the entrepreneur is really running.
So what are some of the plans, you know, like retirement plans that you have to pick from, like as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, I mean, you can start off from a simple IRA, a SEP IRA, and these are things we'll discuss in the meetings on which ones and how they function the best for the. I mean, you can always go all the way up to a 401k. You know, I mean, you can do different things, 401ks, profit share. I mean, depending on the size of your company, depends on kind of the direction we want to steer you in when you come in to figure out the best solution for your company.
Right. Yeah. What are some of the other things that you should consider? You know, you've started a company, you've focused all this time on, you know, building and, you know, your company itself. But like from a planning perspective, what are some of the other things do you think we're missing?
Well, I mean, not only from setting it up for your company, but your personal assets as well. I mean, I think that's where you're going to that point is you need to kind of sit down and start putting together a financial plan on your personal assets and your personal path. What are your goals? Is your goal to mainly put all this money back into the business to grow it?
Yeah.
Well, we need to sit down and figure out at what point in your life are you? Are you in your 30s? Do we have a long runway? Or your 40s? This is a late second career maybe, in your 50s or 60s. We need to sit down and know what size runway that you have before you truly hang that up. And then really we need to see where you're at personal asset wise. Is the company very valuable? Is all of your retirement assets in the company? Or do you have extra cash, extra assets outside that we need to start putting a plan together from that perspective? That's from the asset planning side. And then there's also the estate planning side, depending on the company and the structure as well. What happens? Is it all on you? Are you a key person? Are you not? I mean, is it you and multiple partners, you know, as an entrepreneur? It depends on the structure of the company. But those are all things that we can sit down and through our process discuss and find a solution for you.
Yeah. And you touched on insurance. That seems very important.
Yes.
You know, what are some of the insurances as an entrepreneur you kind of need to think about, like when you have this company?
I mean, at the very basic, just a very basic life insurance policy. I mean, to cover any expenses, if it's just you and your spouse, well, to cover anything that would, if you run everything, that's one thing. If she does everything, that's another. If it's 50-50, from a very basic point, just very basic life insurance. We can go up from there to key person life insurance, that if you are gone, is your name on the building and what effect does that have? Yeah. We can go from everything as basic as the term policy to different insurance policies just to cover what happens if you as the owner or one of a few owners, what happens to that person. Yeah. There's different insurance products to cover different scenarios depending on, you know, how big of the company and how the company is structured that we can talk about.
Yeah, kind of like disability insurance and so forth. Yeah, we know that, you know, you worked so hard to build this type of insurance, and then if something happens, you know, temporarily, maybe 2 or 3 months, it would be good to have something to cover you.
Well, especially that. I mean, the disability, I skipped over that, is very important because especially if you're not there for 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, can have a big impact on productivity, revenues, and a lot more than just being there. So.
Yeah. What about taxes? You think that would be important to take?
It might be a little bit important to pay attention to the taxes. Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things with some of our tax strategies we'll sit down with. And a lot of the times we want to work with a CPA. So let's get involved because we want to be all three be on the same page, especially when it comes to taxes and especially when it comes to small business, medium-sized business, large business. We want to know, you know, what we can and can't do. Even though we read a lot of updates and we know what kind of tax changes are coming every year, having a CPA who's the expert in changes.
Yeah, somebody does it every day.
Yes. So let's get them on board. Let's make sure we're all on the same page from everything as basic as, you know, should we do Roth or traditional contributions to what happens if, you know, complex business decisions we all want to work together on.
Right. And if you set up a 401k and you as an employer are putting money back towards your employees, what type of write-offs are, like what type of structures, you want to have an S Corp or an LLC and those type of things. And that's, not only bringing in a CPA, but also bringing in an attorney, bringing in a financial planning team.
Yes.
And all of us like working together.
Yep.
That seems like a very good fit.
That is a very good fit for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Across the board. I mean, I recommend that, no matter what size the company is, just to make sure you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed. So I think it could be beneficial for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people too, as being entrepreneur and just really focusing on your own business.
Right.
You kind of forget to actually take care of yourself and your financial needs.
Yep.
And, most investing is about time and having the most amount of time invested and stay invested. So even if you start with a little bit, putting it on the side or putting it towards the company and so forth, there's a lot of things that can be done, sooner than you think.
Yeah. That's a very valid point, though. So for all the entrepreneurs out there, you've done very well for yourself. Take some time to take care of yourself and the company.
Yeah.
So
I
agree. Until next time.
Until next time.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's been Coffee Chat with Scotty and Christian.
Yeah.